Hi everybody and welcome to the latest episode of Keep It in the Family. I'm joined by Don Robbie, aka my younger brother. How you doing? It's the first show after the new year. How you keeping?
I'm okay. A little bit depressed after that defeat against Newcastle. You know what I mean? Should never have lost the game and had enough to win it. But it's football, man. It's football. You can't be... You know, the weird thing about it, right, is that it's Arsenal's first defeat at home this season. First defeat at home this season.
What a time for it to happen.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Untimely, but, you know, that's what I'm reflecting on and saying now, listen, don't get too depressed about it, but we've got to get ourselves together.
Well, there is another game in a couple of weeks' time, February the 5th, but it was a disappointing night. I was at the game, you was at the game. Disappointing, man. I mean, I thought Newcastle made a half-decent start and we weathered that early storm. And then we came through, we started looking quite good. And of course, we had that very good chance to get a goal via Martinelli, that break, lovely pass from Trossard. It's literally the only decent thing he did.
Even before that, we had Timber had a header.
Yeah, that's true.
Straight over the bar, why? That should be a goal.
And you often think to yourself, when you missing chances like the one that Martinelli had in a game like that, it could come back and cost you dear. And in fact, that's what happened because goals do change games. And, you know, it turned out to be quite a pivotal moment, that miss by Martinelli. But I've got to say, though, and I've said this to you off camera, Isak, man, what a player.
Great player. And that was the difference between the two teams.
Yeah.
They had a killer up front in Alexander Isak, and we didn't. And that was the difference. And that's why that defeat was so depressing. That's why that defeat has brought so much criticism on Mikel Arteta.
Yeah.
Because I think almost universally every fan thinks we should have a striker. We should go out there. You know, it's the missing ingredient in that Arsenal team is a top quality striker. And fans have been crying out for it for the last couple of seasons and we haven't gone and done it. So when it comes to a game like that now, semi-final, tight game, you look, those comparisons were always going to be made.
Yeah.
He had
inevitable comparisons.
Yeah, and he had a couple of chances, buried one, the other one, great shot off, leads to a goal. Then our striker, you know, as an absolute sitter, much easier chance than any of the Isak ones, and doesn't even header it on target, it comes off his shoulder. And then the other
Must have been the ball.
The other forward player, compared to their left winger, all right, is a tap-in for Gordon, but Martinelli, he's through. He's done all the hard bit. Why did he shoot that early? I don't know. I think he could have kept going. You can then chip the keeper. You can hit it across him. A lack of composure and doesn't bury it. And that was the difference in the game. And
I have to say, I thought Gordon was good as well yesterday.
Yeah,
Those
very
two.
good. He's a very good player. He's a very good player.
Yeah.
I said on Monday we were doing the Bias Premier League show, and I was saying to Ty, which you know he's not going to have it, but I was saying to him, I go, it's a little bit depressing for me that Newcastle have a better attack than Arsenal. And he's going, no, they don't. I said, listen, if you have everybody fit and you had a joint attack across the two teams, it would be Gordon on the left, Saka on the right, and Isak down the middle. And to me, that's what I find, you know, I'm not saying other teams can't have better players from us in certain positions, but we should have a top quality striker. And Mikel Arteta in this area is starting to remind me a bit of, I said this before, like Arsene Wenger back in the day, when we all used to say, we just need a defensive midfielder. Go and get that defensive midfielder, that solid person in the middle of the park and we can win the league. And for some reason, Arsene Wenger used to refuse to do it. And we never won the league. And so we're getting shades of that now where everybody's like, why do we not have a top quality striker? And that's why that defeat was so depressing. But like you said, it ain't over yet. I mean, I've seen everybody write it completely off. Don't get me wrong. Last two times we've been up to Newcastle, we've lost 1-0. I think the time before that we won 2-0. Very difficult place to go to. They put the fans up, you know, up in the sky, which I think was what we should have done to their fans yesterday. I don't understand why they can do that to us and we can't do it to them. Yeah, and then there's 6,000 of them there. There'll be 6,000. There'll be 5,500 Arsenal fans at Newcastle because it's a smaller ground, but they'll be up so high up in the gods that you won't even probably hardly even be able to hear them. And that's why I don't think, we should have done the same to them last night. But anyway, that's not the reason why we lost the game. But it's a tough place to go to, but that game's on February the 5th. A lot can happen between now and then. Could Arsenal go out there and make a signing that reignites thing? Could Arsenal hit form again? Because obviously they're on a little bit of a, even though they ain't really been losing games, there's been a little bit of a dip. Could Newcastle, who about 5-6 weeks ago, there were Newcastle fans saying, boy, they think it's time up for Eddie Howe, right? Could they drop off form? Could there be a lot can happen.
A week is a long time in football.
Yeah, if that game was next week, I'd fancy Newcastle to definitely win that. But I feel that, there's enough time for Arsenal to get it together, go up there, get an early goal in that game, or get the first goal early. Could be a bit of jitters for Newcastle. Yeah. They've not won a trophy in about 60 years. This is a big opportunity for them. They've got one foot in the final.
They came pretty close a couple of years ago. Didn't get it.
Yeah, so it's about Arsenal going up there and saying, right, you know what? We're going to test your test your
mettle.
Test your mettle on this. You haven't really got that trophy pedigree, so let's test your mettle on it. I'm not saying that they can't pass that test because they're a very good side, but go up there and it ain't over yet. I don't think that tie is over yet.
No, I would agree.
Because I think Arsenal are capable of going up there and turning it around, but not if they play like they did last night.
No, they've got to be better. But goals do change games.
And I said that to I was saying that, I think it was to Turkish earlier. I was like, listen, they beat us 2-0. We were unbeaten at home. Yeah. Why can't someone go?
And goals do change
Real
games.
Madrid.
I mean, if Martinelli does put that one in yesterday, you might have seen a completely different game. Yeah, might have done.
Timber, Martinelli, Havertz, our XG was over 3. Theirs was 1.
But one thing is slightly concerning for me as an Arsenal fan. We don't seem to be able to put back-to-back performances together. The last game that I saw that we played really well in was Brentford. We looked really good at that game. Brentford have a very good home record. We went there and we dusted them off pretty much. And then a few days later, we stunk the joint out against Brighton. And then last night, the Newcastle game was...
Got to slightly take into account the amount of games there is over the Christmas period. There's a lot of teams you've seen that have had a dip. We saw Liverpool have a big dip at home against Manchester United. They look very lacklustre compared to what we normally see them playing. Don't get me wrong, United played well. I do feel that the crowded programme over that Christmas period in particular can mean that you have a couple of games over there that's a bit, but I still don't think that's an excuse for last night. It was quite a strong team for Arsenal.
Was you a bit surprised, though, that Havertz started? I know I don't want to, be that kind of Monday morning quarterback type of wise after the event, but let's be honest. Jesus is on a little run of form right now. Havertz, we know, we missed the last couple of games through illness. I've had that bug, you've had that bug. We know it can be quite debilitating. I was a little bit surprised to see him start ahead of Jesus. I'm suspecting that it could be to do with physicality, given Havertz is 6'4" up against Dan Burn and all that.
It could be the physicality factor. It could also be the fact that there's so many games, as I said, do you know what I mean? Jesus,
no, but why start him? Why not start Jesus and then bring Havertz on?
Just because Jesus has played so many games over the Christmas period. So Jesus started on Saturday, didn't he? He started a previous game. There's a game against United coming up Saturday There's then followed up against a game against Tottenham. You've got to juggle your squad around again. Juggle your squad around a bit, and Havertz has not played for the past few games. So I would have started Jesus, but it's not something where I didn't look at the team when it come out last night and say to myself, oh man, I'm not happy with this. I looked at the team and I said, that's quite a strong side. Obviously no Saka, and we know about all the players that are missing, but considering what was at his disposal, it was that's why we lost.
It was an ultimately disappointing night, and of course we've got a big game looming at the weekend against our long-time rivals Man United, who are apparently, so the United fans telling me, resurgent. They keep hitting me up. I had Flex, KG, one or two others hitting me up today. You know what I mean?
Did they win that game?
Well, it's up to
because
I said to Flex, I have never known a team to celebrate a draw as much as you guys.
Listen, it was a great result for Manchester United because everyone thought they were going to get absolutely pumped, right? So I get it, but the way they're carrying on is like they won that game. Their first
the way they're going on is like they won the Champions League.
Arsenal's first loss this season, right? Arsenal got a great record against Manchester United at home, right? As I said, first loss at home this season. If they think they're just going to roll up there, and Arsenal, one thing you do see with Arsenal a lot of times is there's a reaction.
Yep.
To defeats, there's a reaction. You know what I mean? Those players are going to be stung, right, by all the criticism that they got. So if they think you're coming, it's going to be an easy game. I mean, you know, it's going. Listen, it's definitely a more confident United, but.
It's a double-edged sword, really, isn't it? Because, yes, you're right. I'm sure there will be a bit of a backlash. The fans weren't happy with the performance yesterday. I'm sure the players, and especially the manager, won't be. I'm sure there will be a reaction. But we do also have to acknowledge that if we go out to United on Sunday, which I personally don't think is going to happen, the season is in danger of imploding. Because you might have... I'm not saying we're out of 2 competitions in a week, but you know what I'm saying. We'll be out of one, the FA Cup, not looking good in the other, and then the whole mood of things...
Mood changes. Yeah. It's one of those games, right?
So it's a massive game.
One of those games on both sides.
It is.
So all of those things that you just said, but then if you win, you beat United, everybody kind of forgets about that Newcastle game because, you know, we all love beating United, and then follow that up with a game against... Arsenal go and win the next 2 games, nobody would be talking about Newcastle. I'm telling you, not until that game comes around again. Nobody will even mention it.
It is a pretty difficult period because we had the Newcastle game. Obviously, we know what happened there. You got the United game at the weekend, and then the following week you've got a small matter of Tottenham.
Yeah, and then followed up by Villa at the weekend.
So it's...
Right, so, yeah, but these are games. They're all winnable games. They're all at home. And they're all games which can, you know, you can get the mood back round again and get everybody back on side and thing by going out and getting some wins. But can't perform like last night.
And inevitably, it being January, and obviously after yesterday, the conversation, I saw your fan cams, everyone is saying we've got to bring players in. As we all know, January is not traditionally an easy market.
Nope.
A lot of the times you're getting players that are disaffected from other clubs. I guess my question to you is, I mean, you do a really good transfer show every day. I watch that religiously. Can you see us bringing anyone in, and if so, who? I know that's not an easy question for you to answer.
I think Arsenal will bring somebody in. I think maybe 1, maybe even 2, but I think they will. Listen, even if we would have beaten Newcastle 5-0, I still think Arsenal need to bring someone in. Saka's out. It's a huge miss, right? You need to, you know, and I don't think he's going to be back until at least the end of March, right? And when you consider the season finishes in May, what about those? You know what I mean, we've seen how difficult January is, February.
Wanyeri's out
as well. Wanyeri's out, so they've got to go into the market, right?
We once had a player called Raheem Sterling. I don't know.
Well, we don't seem to. Well,
he doesn't seem to be.
He has been injured.
Is he still at the club? I mean,
I don't know why he didn't come on last night. If he don't play against United, then something's seriously wrong.
On a serious note, though, really and truly, what is going on there? Do you think? Because
I have not got a clue. I mean, it makes no sense to me.
Because people are asking me, and I haven't got any answers.
Was he not fit, or what? I don't get it. Right, that he's not hardly played. But now Saka's out, Wanyeri's out. You know, and when his opportunity came around, he was injured. He's back from injury. Let's see if he plays on. And when he does come in now, he's under a lot of pressure to perform.
Well, this is it.
You know, but regardless of even if he does, we've got to go into the market. Arsenal
Give us a couple of names that you think. I mean, I know you, like I said, you do the programme every day. You got your ears to the ground. You got contacts. I know that.
There's players out.
Give us some optimism.
There's players out there also going to have to pay over the odds to get over.
Give us some hopium.
There's players like Nico Williams they're talking about, but the claim is that his wage demands are very high, and Arsenal wouldn't want to, you know, upset loads of other players by going and paying him way more money. But I think that's a player that's gettable. He's got a release clause there. Victor Gyökeres is the obvious one as a striker. He's out there still. £85 million release clause, but does he want to leave Sporting before the end
the
of the
talk is
season?
that he's about to sign a new deal with his club.
Even if he signs a new deal, he's definitely leaving in the summer. He will not be a Sporting player next season. I can put money on it, unless he got injured. If he got a long-term injury, that's the only way he's staying at Sporting. He's leaving Sporting in the summer, right? So there's that release clause there at the moment, right? Maybe they might say, right, listen, we're going to want to remove that release clause. We're going to pay you more money. Just stay till the end of the season. Try and get us the title. Listen, that might be a very difficult one to get done.
Yeah, I can't see that.
Window. There's players like Mamouche up at Eintracht Frankfurt. He's having a great season, scoring goals, free kick expert as well, exciting player. There are players out there. There are players out there. They're going to cost a lot of money. You're going to have to pay over the odds. But I think Arsenal, whatever their plans were before this transfer window, with Saka being out, they're going to have to rip some of those plans up and just accept that you're going to have to pay extra.
You're going to have to be aggressive in the market.
You know, we were planning to spend this amount. Well, you're going to have to change that plan if you want to, because things are still on. We're still in the Premier League race, thanks to that United result, right? We're still in the Champions League. We're still even in the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, we're not out of anything
We're
yet.
in the FA Cup, right? So there's still 4 things to play for, but you've got to go and strengthen the team. Look at the, Leandro Trossard last night. He had no take-ons, no crosses in the game. Yeah, I mean, it was a great pass for the Martinelli chance, but come on.
He's one of a number of players at the moment that are not performing. I don't know what it is of him.
He looks awful out on that right-hand side. We've gone from the right-hand side being literally where everything goes through to like last night where nothing went through it.
And I think crucially, there's a number of players. You mentioned Trossard. You could easily add to that Martinelli. I know he actually had a decent game yesterday, but still not as penetrative.
He missed a big chance.
Yeah, exactly. Martin Odegaard, who I'm a big fan of, his form has fallen off.
Yeah, he's having a poor
We know he's been ill,
game.
so that could have something to do with it. Kai Havertz again.
Hit and miss.
Yeah, there's a number of players, especially in attack, that are not performing. It's becoming a real problem.
Listen, and also, Laurie, I think what it is we need a bit of excitement back as fans. You know what I mean? I think, like, go and get a signing that excites people, gets the juices flowing, a little bit of buzz back in the camp. That can, you know, remember we brought in Aubameyang, that produced a little buzz, you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
But even that Aubameyang signing,
and he came in
like
and hit the ground running.
As I said at the start of the show, you tend to only get disaffected players at this time of the window.
You can get but you can also get good players.
Because remember, even when we got Trossard, remember? That's because he'd fallen out of favour at Brighton.
There are a lot of players that are disaffected or players that are not getting much game time and that. But if you get one of them in and he hits the ground running, it can be great. Go and have a look at the Dani Olmo situation. If he can't be registered by Barcelona, get him on loan till the end of the season. I think that would be a great move. If you know, obviously there's still things to be sorted out on that, but just strengthen that forward line, strengthen that attacking line. Give us a bit more attacking prowess up front, right? Because with Saka out, we're looking a bit toothless at the moment.
We are. There's no doubt about it.
The proof is in the pudding. You just look at the last couple of games. You know, there was the game against Ipswich, 1-0. There was the draw against Fulham. There's the no goals last night. There's the game against Brighton.
And in all those games, we're creating chances, more chances than the opposition in all of those games.
Yeah.
But we're not converting
them away. And that tells you one thing. And it's not, as Mikel Arteta said, the ball, right? What it tells you is that the players there, right, are not quite that elite. Get an elite player or a top quality player. Victor Osimhen's another one that's available.
Yeah. You know my personal favourite, we're not going to get him in January, but my personal favourite is Isak.
Alexander Isak will be even difficult to get in the summer.
He will.
Right? You know what I mean? Newcastle are not skint. You know what I mean? They may be, you know, not quite in trouble with some of the PSR rules, but they're the richest owners in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I say Isak as well, it's not recency bias, mate. Anyone who knows me, I've been banging on about this guy. He would be. I was watching him closely last night. He would be perfect for what Arsenal need. But I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Because like you said, we're not going to get him in January.
There's other targets out there.
There is. And it's up to the club to pursue them in good faith. get somebody in, and like you said, excite the fans, lift the club, and we march forward. But we are running out of time. I did want to get your thoughts on this game coming up, because it is a big game. How confident are you that we can turn back the challenge of Man United this week? Third round of the FA Cup's always a big weekend in the football calendar in this country. I'm personally very much looking forward to the game. Yep. How do you think that game will play out?
I was impressed with Manchester United last week. I mean, against Liverpool, I thought they played very well. They're very brave. That was the first time you saw the blueprint of Amorim. It was good. They defended well, right?
Didn't win though, didn't it?
But they didn't win the game. No, they didn't win the game. You'd have thought they won it with the way they carried on, right? It's a game that we can win. It's a game that we can win. Just put our chances away. We'll create lots of chances against United as well. Got to put them away.
Would you go back to Jesus leading the line, or?
Listen, Jesus or Havertz for me they're similar, right? They're not. Neither of them are clinical. Listen, I want to see Raheem Sterling start that game. I want to see him start on the right hand side. You know,
it does need a shake up, innit? We need to see something
a little shake up. It needs a little, and the problem he's got at the moment, he ain't got a lot of players to shake it up with because so many injuries. Yeah. But Raheem Sterling, I'm thinking, is that why he didn't come on at all last night? Because he's going to start that game. I think he might shake it up, you know. But I definitely think it's a game we can win.
Give us a prediction.
I'm going to go for 2-1 to Arsenal.
I was going to go for that as well. I think it will be a closely contested game.
Yep.
But I do think, on balance, we're at home. We need it.
It's going to see a performance. You're going to see.
Yeah, I think so.
You're going to see like a reaction from Arsenal. That's what I feel. I don't think, you know, and we've got, you know, enough time to, you know, that game being played on Tuesday, the game's on Sunday. There's enough time for rest, recovery. Might see you might see a more dynamic Arsenal than we've seen over the past couple of games.
I'm certainly hoping so. So, yeah, OK, thank you very much for that. In closing, news broke today, Lopetegui sacked. We was all expecting that.
He should have been sacked weeks ago. You know,
are you, like me, a little bit like perturbed at the way it was handled?
No, listen, he's lucky to be there that long. He should be good, right? He's shipped 5
got
against...
no mercy, have you? Look at it.
He shipped 5 against us at home.
Yeah.
He shipped 5 against Liverpool at home, right? And then went and shipped 5 against City. Yeah, I mean,
mind you,
and then when you add on to that, right, they've been losing game after game. When you add on to that they were lucky against Southampton, right? They needed to change. They're right near the relegation zone now.
Well, they're in 14th at the moment. But
Ipswich and these teams starting to gather a bit of momentum. They had to make that change, and I think Graham Potter might do a decent job.
Yeah, he seems to be the man that everyone's talking about. I think that would be a good move for them, actually.
I think so. I think Potter plays good football. It didn't work out for him at Chelsea, but he was brilliant at Brighton, brilliant at Ostersund's. I think that's a good appointment. I think that fits.
Because I don't think they'll go down.
Yeah, West Ham got some good players.
They have.
They've got some good players. I think the problem they got...
What about Kudus, by the way? Look, he's been linked with us.
Yeah, he has been. There's no way... Yeah, but again, those are the difficult ones you talk about. Would you sell Kudus when you're in danger of going down? I mean, the amount of money you'd lose when you know... Especially when you've got a player that you know you can still sell in the summer for more or less exactly the same value. You'd be stupid to sell him.
Yeah.
Unless he kicked up an absolute fuss trying to get out through the door. You know what I mean? So... but... Yeah, they got decent players, but I think that Bowen being out for a couple of months is a big one.
Yeah. Okay, Robbie, thank you very much for appearing on the latest edition of Keep It in the Family. Listen, some massive games coming up. This game against Man United on Sunday, absolutely huge game. Then we got Tottenham in the following week, and then we got Villa. So it's a heavy schedule, but I'm backing the boys, as I'm sure Robbie is, and let's hope. By the next time I speak to you, we've got some news, some
signings,
confirmation of
some players.
Somebody coming in to help the guys because they need it. But listen, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. If you're new here, please like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching LL Sports TV. Myself and Robbie are out. Take care.